Hello everyone, and thanks for stopping by. I thought I would take a minute here and talk about the things I think that would be helpful if you're just starting out oil painting. I'm no professional. I'm a plumber who has an iPhone that likes to paint, and I paint in oils. And these are just a few little things I have found along the way that I thought might be helpful for you. So, thought we'd just talk a little bit about it, and maybe it'll help somebody out. So I'm going to start off first with mediums. In oil painting, at least the way that I do it, I like to do a wet on wet technique in most cases. There are some cases that I don't, but if you're just starting out, the wet on wet technique is just fantastic. This is the technique that you'll see Bob Ross and Bill Alexander doing, and it's a great way to get started. It's how I got started. So let's talk about mediums. So we want our canvas to be wet. And what I use, I'm going to start here first with a white medium. Now, when I say medium, this is a thin paint. There's a lot of oil in it. And so we want it nice and thin so we can get a nice even distribution of liquid white, that's what this is, our white medium, onto the canvas. Now you can find many different brands of this. This just happens to be, and I'm going to be talking a lot about Hobby Lobby. This is what I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and it's called Liquid First Coat White Oil Color. The price I paid, well, I didn't pay this, but the price that's listed is about 22 bucks. $22, that's a lot of money for this little can. However, there's a hack. Download the Hobby Lobby app on your phone, and there will be a 40% off coupon for one item. One item, 40% off. And so that takes the price down significantly. In fact, I'm getting a little bit low, so it's about time to get some more. This stuff will last a long time because you don't use a whole lot. You just want a very, very thin coat on your canvas to make it slick so that you can blend those colors right on your canvas. So as I said, this is a Hobby Lobby, or this is what I bought from Hobby Lobby, Liquid First Coat White Oil Color. Now let's talk about our other mediums. We have, you have to get it out. Here it is. At Hobby Lobby, they have a Liquid First Coat in clear. I use the white most often on my white canvases, and on my black canvases and some whites I will use a clear medium. Liquid First Coat Clear Oil Color. Do the same thing with this. We put it on our canvas and we put a very light coat. In fact, after I put any clear medium on, I always take a shop towel. Those are those blue towels that you can buy at auto parts stores or, in the automotive department at Walmart. They are lint free. They won't leave lint on your canvas. So I'll wipe it down. Once I put it on, I wipe it down. People are like, oh, you just put it on. Why are you wiping it off? Well, what's left behind is exactly the amount that I need. So this is the Liquid First Coat. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do not care for it. It is thick and sticky. I can use it, and there are instances where this is what I will use if I'm trying to get a certain effect. Not a big fan. Then you have other mediums. One other thing you need is a nice squeaky chair. One of these days I'll get one that's not squeaky. This is oil painting medium clear, and it is from Grumbacher, and it's pretty thin and it works. It's not my favorite, but it works. So it doesn't really matter, it works. Of course, Bob Ross has his liquid clear, but again, a little sticky, not quite as bad as the Hobby Lobby brand here, but a little sticky. Still, again, not my favorite. Here's my favorite. Refined linseed oil. This is what I like. It is perfect for what I do. I find it easy to work with, and I will use this on my black canvases especially. And you just, as I said, you put it on a very thin coat, as thin as you can get it, and then you wipe it down with a shop towel because you've got too much on it. And if you have too much of a clear medium on, believe me, I know this from experience. If you have too much of a clear medium, your painting will begin to slide down your canvas. So make sure you get that wipe down step in there. Okay, so there's our mediums. Those are what I use. Now, like with the liquid white, or the first coat white, the white medium, you can also make your own. You can take some titanium white and some refined linseed oil and mix those about 50-50, and you'll get a thin, I would say probably about the consistency of maybe half and half. And for those of you who maybe in other countries and say half a what and half a what, because I know that has happened, that's like half cream, half milk. But it's about that consistency. You can also do the same. Sometimes you'll want to make a liquid black. You just take some of your black paint, mix some refined linseed oil in it till you get about that same consistency. I don't use liquid black a whole lot. I know there are applications for it. I just don't use it a whole lot. So now let's talk about brushes. Now there are a wide variety of brands and styles and so forth. So I'm just going to go over the ones that I feel that you need to get started. So first of all is a 2-inch brush. Now let me tell you a little bit about these brushes. These are not synthetic. They are not nylon. They're not synthetic at all. These are natural hog hair or boar hair bristles. You don't want the synthetics, because what will happen is the bristles will actually cut through your paint. I mean, they do. I've tried, and you know, you can buy cheap brushes at the hardware store, and it's not what you need. You need a natural bristle brush. So I have a 2-inch. Now, this is actually an artist brush, and it's a great brush. It's nice, and I mean, it's firm, but yet you have some give to it. It has a nice shape to it. But let me tell you, if you don't want to get an artist brush, go down to your hardware store. Bam. This is a Purdy. It's a Purdy. P-U-R-D-Y. It is a natural bristle brush, and this does just as good of a job as an artist brush. The handle shape, I don't care a whole lot for. I like the round shape of the artist brush, but I do use this brush quite a bit. There's nothing wrong with it. This is great. Now, let's move on. You also will need a 1-inch brush. I am much more comfortable with a 1-inch brush. However, I will use a 2-inch if I need to cover a lot of area and I don't want to sit there and, you know, my arm go numb while I'm doing it. But I like the 1-inch brush a lot. This is really good, real versatile. You can make bushes and trees and everything with this brush. I've seen Bob Ross make pine trees, evergreens, with this brush. Again, artist brush. Now, if you want, and I could not find a 1-inch natural bristle brush at the hardware store. but I did find one at an actual paint store. I believe it was the Sherwin-Williams store. 1-inch natural bristle brush, probably 2/3 of the cost of the artist brush. And I'll be honest with you, I actually like this one from the paint store, the actual Sherwin-Williams store, better. The bristles have more give to them. They're a little bit softer. I really dig this brush. But don't get me wrong, I use the other one all the time too. So a 1-inch brush. And you don't need to get 2 of each. It is easier because you're not cleaning your brushes as often, but you can get by with 1 each on these. So moving on, we have a fan brush. This is a brush, where did I buy this? Oh, actually, this is a brush I bought online. A fan brush, again, natural bristle. And this is a number 6. This is a number 6. Now, I also like to have another size, a number 2 or 3. It doesn't matter. As you can see, they are, this one is smaller right here. These are great. I make evergreen trees with them. I make clouds with them. They're fantastic. And Michael's, Hobby Lobby, they carry them. I started off at Michael's on the level 1, which is the beginner tier of these brushes. I've moved on up just, and you know, if you stick with oil painting, you'll find that you'll refine what you like to use, and that's cool. Everyone's got to find their own path. You know, what's going to work for me? I'm just telling you what I think might be essential just to get started. So the fan brush. And when it comes to brushes, last but not least, a script liner brush. Tell you what, I have seen some masters of this brush, and I am still working on it myself. These are great brushes. This brush has real long bristles, and you can load up a lot of paint in that. Now, when you're using a liner brush, you always want to thin your paint. It needs to almost be an ink-like consistency, but a script liner. As far as brushes go, that's it. You know, you need a 2-inch, a 1-inch. You can get by with 1 fan brush, but if you can get 2 sizes, that's even better. And a script liner. Those are brushes, and I forgot to set something out here, so I'll be right back. I just have to run over here to my easel in my squeaky chair. Okay, here we go. A palette knife. These are great for making mountains, and many other things, but they're really great for making mountains. Now, this one is a large palette knife. As you can see, definitely a difference. I recommend that you get a smaller palette knife. Honestly, I think you can pick these things up, not this particular brand, but you can pick up a palette knife shaped just like this, and the same size. I believe I've bought them for about $4 at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, so forth. But you will want one of these. These are great. I use a palette knife. Doggone, I use palette knife on almost every painting I do. These are phenomenal. So, definitely want one of those. Okay. Well, we've talked about that, and that. A beater rack. Now, this right here was actually a beater rack for a brush that I bought online. However, if any of you guys have seen those, I guess you'd call them cabinet organizers, that you can buy these things, set them in, you can set dishes on top, dishes underneath, and it really, you know, yeah, they work great. In fact, right now in my little office size waste paper bucket here, I have exactly that. I don't know, I call them cabinet organizers. I don't know what else they're called, but I have one in there. I set it down in a waste paper office size, you know, garbage can. And first I put in a garbage bag, and then I'll set this down in there. And when I'm ready to clean my brushes, I'll clean them. And then inside that can, because it contains everything in there, so you don't get it spray everybody, you just go back and forth to get the excess cleaner out. And we're going to talk about the cleaner. So, one of these babies. Can you get by without it? Yeah, you can. You can. It just makes it a little bit easier. Something to kind of beat your brush on. Okay, so, well, we talked about that. Well, let's talk about our cleaners and containers here. Now, I have a bucket here. And inside this bucket is a little screen for me to scrub my brushes on. I have everything contained inside this little Ziploc bag, and I can't do this with one hand, so let me just set this down. And what I will do is I will unzip that sucker, take it down, pull the lid off, and inside here I have some odorless mineral spirits. Or you could use odorless paint thinner. What's the difference, you say? Mineral spirits is just a more refined paint thinner. That's all it is. Don't get confused on it, but you definitely want odorless. Now, that being said, excuse me, I have bought odorless mineral spirits at a hardware store, and I know some people use that. It's not odorless, and it will drive you out of your room. I highly, highly recommend that you get something like this. This is Mona Lisa odorless paint thinner. I bought this at, I believe it was Hobby Lobby, and it's 32 ounces, and this stuff is not cheap. I will grant you that. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I know it's not cheap. But the day after you buy your liquid first coat with your 40% off coupon from Hobby Lobby, go back the next day, use the coupon again for this. You can only use it once a day. Go back the next day and get you some of this. Okay? So how does all this stuff work? You know, I've got that bucket. That actually came from an art supply store. Or you can make your own. Drink some Maxwell House. Emptied, save the lid. In here, look. The screen. All this is, I'm giving you this little hack because I'm all about saving money. All this is, this little screen, is a gutter screen I got from the hardware store. And I have 10 snips, and I just cut out a square or a rectangle out of that stuff. I folded down the edges so it sits up off the floor of the can here, and made it the right size. I say I made it right size. Actually, this one is a little bit big, and sometimes I have trouble getting it in there. And bam. And when I clean my brushes, I'll have my odorless paint thinner come about a ½ inch over the top of the screen here. And when I clean my brushes, let me grab a brush. I just, you know, scrub it on that screen. Bam. Knock off the excess. I beat it on my beater rack, and then I dry it out with a paper towel. Because you definitely do not want to take paint thinner up on your painting because you don't want to thin that stuff out, believe me. Well, in most cases. Now, it is, as I was saying, this paint thinner is not cheap. It is quite expensive. However, you can use it over and over and over. What I do is when my paint thinner is dirty, I will pour it off into what I call my settling can. You pour it in there and you just let it sit. Do not disturb it. The pigment in the paint will drop to the bottom, and what's left on top, which is going to be most of it, is going to be paint thinner. It might have a slight color to it. That's okay. It still works. And then you carefully pour that off when you need it into your cleaning buckets. And you just keep recycling it over and over and over. I've been painting for, it's February, so it's been this month 2 years. And I have bought, I think, a total of 1.5 gallons of the paint thinners. And I just keep reusing it. Yeah, eventually you're gonna have to buy more, but you're not buying it all the time. And use that 40% off coupon. I'm all about saving $1, or as Bob would say, a happy buck. All right, so we've talked about paint thinners, we've talked about mediums, we've talked about brushes. Let's talk about paint. Now, there are all kinds of oil paints on the market. You want, for this style of painting, you want a thick, let me say that again, a thick oil paint. Where can I get these oil paints? Well, again, I'm going back to Hobby Lobby. If you're just getting started, these are good paints to start with. If you stick with oil painting, you'll progress up to get a higher quality, but these are perfect to start with. These are Hobby Lobby brand Master's Touch oil paints. They're perfect to get started with. In addition, they come in, let me get something that's a little more visual here. They come in 2 different sizes. This size has a price of $15. This size has a price of $6. That can add up, I'll grant you. But here's the trick. Every other week, check the weekly ads for Hobby Lobby. Every other week, these paints are on sale for 50% off. I buy these paints with their 50% off. I'm all about saving a happy buck. So, bam. Now, as you progress, this is what I am actually, as I empty these tubes, I'm replacing them with the Winsor Newton Winton oil paints. These are a better paint, but there's nothing at all wrong with these. I painted for 1.5 years with these. So you want a thick, heavy, firm paint. When you open up the lid, you should be able to, see if I can get this up here. That should come up about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm wasting a little bit of paint here. Look how thick that is. Okay, you don't want something that's real oily. Let me clean that off. Right on the pants. That's okay, these are painting pants. I have several pair of painting pants. So you want a nice thick paint, because as you lay down your paint in a wet on wet technique, you're adding layers, and you want to start off, once your medium's on there, with a thick layer, a heavy paint, a thick paint, a firm paint, and you'll add thinner and thinner paints on top of it as you go along. Okay, there we are. Okay, So what colors? Well, let me tell you, quite honestly, let me find it here. There we go. You can get started with a titanium white. You will definitely need a titanium white. It's easy for me to say, huh? A titanium white you're going to need. In fact, this is going to be the paint that you'll use the most of. A black. This is ivory black. Now those two, black and white, I just found out recently are not considered colors. I don't know why they're not considered colors, but you need a black and a white. And you could get by with these colors right here. Yellow, red, and blue. With these, you can mix all kinds of colors. You can mix a wide variety of colors. But if you're not into the whole mixing thing, which in the beginning, I didn't understand color mixing at all. So you can buy the tubes already in the colors you need. So titanium white. If you can get cadmium yellow, that's great, but Master's Touch does not make a cadmium yellow. But they do make this right here that's yellow medium. As in, I don't like to say yellow medium, how they have it listed. A medium yellow. So you'll need that. Of course, we talked about permanent red. This one right here is phthalo blue. Ivory black. Prussian blue. Yellow ochre. Indian yellow. Crimson. Now, a lot of times you'll hear it referred to as alizarin crimson. Master's Touch does not call it alizarin crimson, just crimson. Same thing. Crimson. Sap green. Burnt sienna. Burnt umber. And Van Dyke brown. So how many do we have there? I also have phthalo green out here. I love this color. Freaking love this color. You don't necessarily need it to get started, but it is nice to have around. I'm going to just set that one up here. So how many colors did I have? We have Van Dyke brown, burnt umber 2, sienna's 3, Indian yellow 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 different paints. I kind of wanted to get it down to 12, but if I had to throw one out to say to get started, I'd probably take out the, well, my favorite color is phthalo blue, so I would keep that in there. I'd probably get rid of the Prussian blue. But Prussian blue is great. I use it a lot. So those 13 colors. And so there's that. Now, what do I paint on? Honestly, you can paint on anything. Someone told me during this pandemic, man, canvases, they got to be hard to find because everyone's staying home. They need something to do. And so a lot of people decided, hey, you know what? I've always liked art. I'll take this up. And so the canvases were hard to find. And someone I know was asking me, what would you say would be good to paint on if I can't find it? I said, anything. I said, heck, you got walls in your house, right? Paint on those. I do want to do a wall in here. My wife and I are in disagreement. I want to, she doesn't. So I've lost. Because what she wants, she gets. So I do. I would love to do a painting on a wall in my house. And I'm still not, I may just do it. I may just do it without her even knowing it. Shh, don't tell her. But I personally like stretched canvas. Let me see if I can pull one out here. I'll pull out, yeah, here's an 11 by 14. I prefer painting on 16 by 20s, but sometimes, you know, 11 by 14s are nice because I can sell them cheaper because, I mean, it's just smaller. It usually doesn't take, you know, as much time. But I like the stretch canvas. Why do I like stretch canvas? I like them. My own reason for liking them is they have a bounce to them. I like that bounce when I'm painting. I have tried canvas boards. I don't care for them. I have friends who that's all they do is canvas boards. And I wish I did like them because once it's done, storage is so much easier. You can stack like about 5 canvas boards to one stretched canvas. But I don't want to give up the bounce. Another thing that you could paint on are canvas sheets. Now, I'm not talking, you want real canvas sheets if you're gonna go that route. You don't want paper that is embossed like canvas. That's gonna soak up all your oils and everything, and it doesn't work real well. But you can actually buy a pad, like a pad of paper, but it's not paper, it's canvas sheets. And I've seen them at Hobby Lobby in 16 by 20s. In fact, I think I have one around here in 16 by 20s. And also, I think I saw a 12 by 16. And you can get a whole pad of them. And then you just pull out one and, you know, like maybe tape it to a foam board or something and paint. Now, as far as easels and stuff go, that's up to you. I have an H-frame wood easel that I love. I have a travel easel, a French easel, that I can put on the back of my motorcycle and take off and paint. And I built a carrying case for a wet painting because that's the thing about oils. It's going to take 7 to 10 days for them to dry. Yeah, it takes a while for oils to dry. That's the good thing about oils. It takes a while to dry. Let me tell you the bad thing about oils. It takes a while to dry. Seriously, there are some good and bad things to that. You know, I can do a painting. I can paint a painting, and then the next day come walking down and look at it and go, it's still wet. I can still work with it. And even after it dries, I can still work with it. But while it's still wet, I could even blend those colors on my canvas the next day. So that is nice thing about oils. So I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Be sure to get you a nice squeaky chair because that's important. I swear, I was at Staples the other day and I was looking at chairs and I saw this gaming chair and I thought, man, that would be perfect for painting. And I sat down in it. Oh God, it was so comfortable. And then I got up and I looked at the price and it was $300. I said, you know what? My squeaky chair isn't bad. It's not bad at all. So, oh, well, I hope that's helped you out a little bit. And this is just my own opinions based on my own experiences. I'm sure there are plenty of other artists out there that will tell you, you know, something different, give you different colors, different brushes. This is just what I have found works for me. And we all have to find our own path of, you know, what's going to work. In fact, today I am going to buy copper, you know, those copper scrubbing pads for dishes. I'm actually buying one just to have down here for my art because there's a technique I want to try. And quite honestly, my mother-in-law is the one who told me about it because she used it in ceramics. I said, I'm going to buy it and give it a try. And so you find what works. Find what works. When I do underpaintings, I use, oh wait, this is most important, paper towels. I use a lot of paper towels. Oh, there's a fuzzy on there. I had this in the laundry room. I use a lot of paper towels and shop towels. But yeah. when I'm doing underpaintings, I'll go through an entire roll of paper towels. I'll use Q-tips. I'll use, I didn't even know they made these things. I just happened to see them. They're little pointed, they look like pointed Q-tips. I'll use those. I'll use erasers, you know, just whatever works. Whatever works. So, anyways, if you've never tried oil painting before, I will be posting more paint along videos. I was starting off and I was going to call them tutorials, but my one and only tutorial that's on YouTube, it's a very long video and I go in way too much detail. And so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to call it a paint along and we're going to shorten things up. If you have any questions, you know, on one of my videos, just leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And if we need to talk more about it in, you know, Messenger or whatever, I'm cool with that too. So hope this helps you out. Give it a try. Oil painting is such a blast, an absolute blast. So until the next time, guys, remember to keep looking up, because that is where our strength comes from. And I love you all, and I'll talk to you later. You all be blessed.